Okay, I am here. My goodness, it is Saturday evening on the July long weekend. Hope everyone's having a fun, happy, healthy July long weekend. Long weekend? I'm assuming it's a long weekend. But I know the American holiday falls on Sunday. So it's possible that it's not a long weekend, depending on where you work. Andrew, how you doing? Welcome to the stream. Thanks for coming in. Monday off, nice. Okay, yeah. I had Thursday was Canada Day, which is July 1st, so that was this past Thursday, and I also had yesterday off. And honestly, it was great, and I have spent a buttload of time playing Forza Horizon, which I bought off of the Steam summer sale, and I've been really addicted to it for the past 2 days. So maybe I'm not as productive as I wanted to be. Well, actually, I kind of didn't really feel like being productive, so I'm hoping to get the initial addiction phase of this game out by the time Monday hits when I go back to work. But I am halfway through my addiction phase of this this infatuation phase of this game with Forza Horizon. It has been awesome. Same with Underdog Basketball Drafts. Nice. Yeah. Tomorrow's stream, it's gonna be, I've been trying to do research streams. I missed last week's because I wasn't feeling super hot, and then just decided to do development instead. But tomorrow, so the day after, is the kickoff of the Scott Fish Bowl on Monday. So I'm gonna try to hammer out some thoughts about how I want to approach that, and kind of do having some kind of bit more of a fun fantasy football oriented researchy stream. Not tons of data science, but maybe a little bit, and really kind of doing rankings. So more of a fantasy football stream. I'll mention that in my stream notes for tomorrow, and Twitter stuff. You're an SFP satellite. Well done. Which one? And which slot? I think are the important questions here. I'm not going to really think about that till tomorrow. I've been kind of putting it off, honestly. So now it's Vision 9, number 102. Okay, 102. Yeah, so I've got 101, so I've got a pretty good idea that where I want to go with my first pick, but I haven't really done any mocking or any real getting any sort of comfort level with where players should go or where they want to go. So I'll be doing some of that. Tomorrow. Today, my plan is to churn out as much as possible towards getting ffsimulator cran ready. So I kind of came up with a list while I was away. Well, not away. While I was looking at stuff last week, and over the course of the middle of last week. So I kind of came up with a list of things and then did a little bit of it already. So basically creating logic in ADP outcomes to bin together nearby ranks, nearest above, one and below. So basically right now, for those of you not familiar with the project, kind of give it a quick recap. Again, I'm doing simulations by kind of taking preseason average draft position, so basically where people think a player will go, and kind of using the preseason ranking to predict the actual week outcomes for players going forward. So kind of taking the sample of every running back. The first running back overall has this range of outcomes because of every week, here's the week, all of the weekly scores. So basically I was taking preseason number one running back and using the projection for them as the pool of data. And I decided, and I did some work on this earlier, that I wanted to bulk up that sample. So instead of looking at just what the number one running back did, I also wanted to look at what the number 2 and the number 3 running backs did by ranking, and use that as the range for the first running back. Actually, the first running back would be double the sample of the first, like the top running back, plus number 2. Number 2 would be number 1 and number 3 and number 2. So basically just kind of binning, instead of just directly binning like just that one rank, I want to bin it by one above and one below, and hopefully that improves the population size of the range of outcomes. So that is my plan there, and I've already done it. So basically let's see if I can find a git diff. That might be the easiest way to explain what happened. Git diff, GitHub, not this package. Yeah, so this code to bin nearby outcomes, basically, I just added a column to say, okay, so if rank is, just take rank minus 1 equals 0, then use this, otherwise use rank and then rank plus 1, use this as rank and then rank plus 1, and then unnested them. So basically just triplicated the number of rows, which should hopefully do it. It does definitely do what I think it should do in terms of the week outcomes. So the average week outcomes now look something like... yeah. There we go. So con is going to be equal to NFL Connect, which I need to load the package first. Con, we will set the number of seasons to 100, and we'll use, I think, 14 game seasons. There we go. Base seasons. Or space seasons. Base seasons is now going to be 2012 to 2020, and this should expand a little bit, the pool of data. There's some cleanup that I want to do actually right now to make sure that that works okay. But basically, I take the scoring history for that range of outcomes. How's the audio, by the way? I had to change some stuff in my music setup, so let me know if music's too loud, my voice is too loud, one of them's too quiet. Let me know. Okay. Scoring history, and then hopefully we can feed it. Injury model is going to be the simple model. Alyssa, hello. Audio sounds good. Yay. Simple. Okay. So basically, I'm just going to test this ADP outcomes, and I forgot to make this bigger. That would be helpful. Okay, so basically now, instead of just having only 5 players, now I'm looking at both the players who finished number 2 and the players that finished number... the players who are ranked second are included above and included below. So hopefully that helps a little in terms of increasing our sample size. So now that we're looking at stuff, we can think about what we have as I don't know, what am I looking at? I don't have a list of lengths, but basically now we're looking at, like, I want to say, instead of like 50 outcomes per player, we're looking at more like 150 or 200, which means, you know, we're drawing from a broader sample, so it should be a little more representative of what will happen. So that happened. I did that. I normally don't do work outside of the stream, but I kind of had this itching in my mind. And then so I scraped some more historical rankings. This part I was going to try for 2010 to 2020, but Fantasy Pros only has 2012 to 2020 for offense, which is close enough to what I wanted. That basically bulks our sample to 8 or 9 years, which is, again, good enough. So there's some work today I need to do to make sure that the IDs work. And one of the things I might do is so there's some stuff with the IDs that I need to do here to make sure that these join up properly. Create join functions for each of the remaining FF Connect classes. So I don't have classes. So basically I have a set of joins that have to happen. Basically take all the components together and pre-process things. And I don't have that programmed for anything except MFL. So that needs to happen very shortly. And really it's just, you know, joining on the right IDs and keys, but I didn't want to like really overthink how this was done when I can just write 4 different methods. I think that's just easier for me to deal with. So there's work here to do for each of the ESPN, MFL, Sleeper classes, which again, hopefully that helps. Hopefully we can get somewhere with that today. I don't think it takes super long. There's a summary function, and then that I want to do to like summarize all the data on a season level, and then on a week, and then I want to do like a simulation level. So if you run 100 seasons, I want you to be able to look at all the seasons, like the entire simulation, kind of get like the range of outcomes there, but also get a range of outcomes for season level wins. So like this season had this many points, wins, like the components that go into a summary, like a simulation level table. And then after that, there's basic like write documentation, write tests, write usage vignettes, clean up the README, and that covers almost everything I wanted to do for CRAN. And I want to take this to CRAN mostly. So yeah, I do want to take this to CRAN. I also spent time this past week, just here's things that I did, and made an FFverse blockdown page, which is here. And basically it's kind of like the tidyverse page in general. The idea is that it gives you a disambiguation page. I have FF scrapers on CRAN. FF Scraper is... Hey, get back here. This is on CRAN. Basically, it connects you to MFL, Sleeper, and ESPN and Flea Flicker fantasy leagues directly via their APIs. And so this is on CRAN. I maintain it. There's usually a bit of maintenance now and then, but I do my best to try to keep it stable and supported. So that's on CRAN. So I'm hoping to have a second one. So basically this page, like this is the FFverse, which is a collection of fantasy football packages. It's directly inspired by Tidyverse, a collection of art packages for data science. Nice little blurb. I wrote some quick copy, but there's more to do there. Then basically talk about the 3 packages I have within the FFverse. This one's the only one that's on CRAN, but you know, you get to docs or GitHub, and then simulator, same thing. This is the package we're working on today. And FF Pros is a fantasy pros package that helps scrape things, and have a nice little installation thing, and then takes you to here's. And it also takes you to dynastyprocess.com, which is similar thematically, but I haven't updated in a while, so I'll get there eventually. But yeah, I made a blockdown page. I spent like a night on it, and so it's not perfect, but it's close enough. Mostly because I also moved the package down page to this FFverse domain. So this page now lives on not FF Scraper, the other ones. FF Scraper will live here eventually as well, but I don't want to break CRAN stuff until I can update it properly. So yeah, so moving all of this stuff into this FFverse thing, the idea is it's a tidyverse for fantasy football. A little ambitious maybe, but there's going to be a few more packages, but these are kind of the first 3. So I'll get there eventually. But yeah, so that happened. I think that's it. Okay, so yeah, I added channel point rewards. Now there's you can remind me to hydrate, and you can also buy 30 minutes of our help like live on stream, dedicated. I will look only at your thing. You know, you can always get, like, obviously our help is free, because you can just ask me 99% of the time and I will try to help you. But you can buy my time with channel points, because, you know, I do it anyway, so may as well give you something to buy with channel points you may be collecting on streams. So that's the bottom left-hand corner of the chat box. Begin stockpiling. 2,000 points. It's not that many. Is it that many? I don't know. Obviously, I'm open to adjusting those, and obviously you can also just ask me, and I will generally help you on R4DS Slack. I will help you if you go here and join that Slack community and just put stuff there. I probably answer like a good third of the questions, and if not, somebody who's better at whatever topic you're asking will answer as well. So great community. We answer a lot of questions, but if you want like me to stop what I'm doing, well, I don't know if it's gonna be a stop what I'm doing kind of format, but I will arrange to do this on stream and look at your problems. Like you already use as personal, use as my own personal Stack Overflow. Well, yeah, I don't know. I kind of like, apparently I like float around and help people's R streams. That's sort of how, apparently that's my brand. So it kind of happens. Okay, so let's get started. I wanted to look at these outcomes. It's a good brand. Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like the Data R Fairy brand. Just kind of go on and wave my wand and, you know, appears to help out. It's a good thing to be known for. Okay, so I've got this rankings history, and I have Fantasy Pros IDs, but I don't think so. I think I'm trying to figure out the best place to tackle this. Okay, ADP outcomes. Okay, so kind of like my first problem is that the GSIS IDs are missing, and so without that GSIS ID connection, I can't use Michael Vick or Peyton Manning or Jay Cutler or Josh Freeman. I can't use any of those players, and they do have GSIS IDs. They just don't have them in the current way I'm pulling the data in. So I think I want to solve this by making a manual list and trying to join them. Crossing my fingers. We will give this a spin. It may not belong here. Okay, so let's take ffsimulator's ranking history. And actually, it should have a Sport Radar ID. Let me think about this. Thinking. Okay, ADP outcomes. No. Alright, so I have a file here. Data raw, rankings history, and it runs FF Pros kind of on demand. So you kind of have to install it at this point manually. But I do have rankings for 2012 to 2015. And I lost my Sport Radar ID. Where the heck did Sport Radar ID go? It's gonna go here. Sport Radar ID. Alright. Go. Work. Don't break. Please. Come on. Yes, you know you want to. Oh, wait. Wait. I forgot. Oh, wait, I did do the rate limit equals false. Okay, so it is just processing. Alright. I put rate limiting in, and then I proceed to turn it off. Sorry, Fantasy Pros. I know I kind of abuse you anyway, but we're just gonna go for it because I don't really have time to go 5 seconds per page request. There's like, I don't know, 40 pages that I need to hit through here. So we don't have time. We're just gonna move on. Come on. Okay, so FP Rankings History should now have a Sport Radar ID, which is good. And these are like, I think, if I understand this correctly, the Sport Radar IDs are, wait for it, 99.8% complete. Wait, 99.8? That is an awfully small number. FP Rankings History filter is an A. Oh, is an A. Sport Radar ID. Talk to me. Okay, so we got a bunch of running backs. So we got, hang on, let's see. View. So we got a bunch of nobodies from a while ago and kickers. So again, nobodies. Maurice Hurst doesn't have a Sport Radar ID, which is interesting. Tre'Davious White. Tre'Davious White, that's weird. I'm surprised he doesn't have one. Beanie Wells, Danny Ware. Okay, so I really don't care about these players. Like, none of these kickers, like, these were all free agent kickers who didn't even have a team. You know this because their ranking is like 39 plus. Tre'Davious White, yes. So yeah, he's absolutely a good player. I'm just surprised he doesn't have an ID, and I think it's just, I just don't think it lines up. Long live Beanie Wells. He went to Canada to play in the CFL. I think. I don't really follow CFL, so I am a bad Canadian football fan. But yes. Also, welcome to the stream, Stochastic Soul. How are you doing? Yeah, okay. Okay, so we've got these, and we've got players, but we don't have Fantasy Pros IDs or Sport Radar IDs. So what we want to do is rebuild the package. We're going to restart our session, our session. Package load, load all. Library FF Scraper if I need it. Library Tidyverse. This probably will go in data raw. It might not go in data raw, but I haven't decided where it should live yet, so we'll figure that out in a minute. Okay. So the matching one is NFL Fast-Star rosters for 2012 to 2020. This is actually just the rankings history, FP rankings. Non-function. Okay. Alright, I agree, you are not a function. I didn't mean to say that you were a function. Okay. Jamie, how are you doing? Okay, so I've got too much here, so let's trim this down. Select season, team, position, full name, GSIS ID, name should come first, GSIS ID appears here, team below, and I think that's it. Okay. So NFL Fast Star rosters, you've got 5. Oh, and I missed Sport Radar ID. Oop. Sport Radar ID. NFL Fast Star rosters, Sport Radar ID. Okay, so we've got a goodish sample here. My primary goal is to fix the quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and tight ends. We're going to filter position in C, QB, RB, receiver, tight end. We'll do the same thing here. This is a pause here. Pause equals position. Player name equals full name. Player name? Yes. Pause. Yes. Team. Team doesn't matter. We'll leave it. Okay. Okay, so got 9,000 quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, tight ends, and here, and we've got 4,800 that are fantasy relevant. That sounds about right. And I don't actually need to work over the entire, or do I? I should. Okay, so first things first, I'm going to group by GSIS ID and fill the Sport Radar ID. Direction equals down, up. And we'll do the same thing here. Group by Fantasy Pros ID. And fill that. Good. Okay. I don't want to save it just yet. Got this. So what I want here is then to ungroup this. Ungroup this. And then basically my goal is to filter FP rankings where... Actually, let's do the test join first. So left join DP player ID. And then I'll be able to join on the NFL Fast Star rosters. Wait. Actually, no, I want to join on DP player IDs, which is how I get there, and then fill dplayer filter is NA GSIS ID. Yep. Okay, that's my list of non-matching. How did I move up the block of code? Like, you mean this? I actually don't remember what I did, so do you mean this? This is Alt, so select the text, Alt, and then up and down. If you want to copy it instead of move it, you can hold Alt Shift and then go up and down. And that makes lots of copies. So, picked up that trick, I don't know how long ago, but I use it a lot actually, so you can just kind of reorder your lines. Keep pressing save. I don't actually want to save yet. Okay, so no problem. Welcome to the stream. Not sure how you found me. Sometimes people find me through fantasy football. Sometimes people find me through our community. Sometimes people find me on Twitch. So I can contextualize things at you if I know sort of why you're here and what brought you here. But in the meantime, that's a very twitchy habit to press Control Save, which I don't want to use just yet. Okay, so right now I have Fantasy Pros ID, Sport Radar ID, but no GSIS ID. It's first time in a book club video on YouTube. Okay, so through R and Slack. That's cool. Yeah, I spent a lot of time there too. So welcome. Okay, so these are all players that don't have matches, and I want to bring matches so that I have a set of GSIS IDs for them. So my first intuition is to blindly join by player name and position, and then we'll try to get duplicates. So I think that should work. Okay, cool. So we'll left join. We'll actually just run a select statement again. Season. Fantasy Pros ID, Sport Radar ID, player name. And I'll switch this to a transmute because I want to do something to player name here, which is FF Scraper, DP clean names, player name. And so basically I'm just going to run a mutate and a select at the same time. I do this usually because I'm lazy to, not lazy, but like trying to keep lines of code down. So I need Fantasy Pros ID, Sport Radar ID. I don't need GSIS ID because I'm going to bring that in here very shortly. And I need the position. So basically, I'm going to cross my fingers and left join the NFL Fast Star rosters. Select. And I'm going to join them on season, player name, and position. And we'll see how many that brings in. We'll cross our fingers and hope that works. Season, player name. Also, this will be a transmute, so transmute. Season. We'll clean the names at the same time. Position. Team. We'll try to bring in the team as well, and hopefully that'll help us identify mismatches. Team, NFL team equals team. And I would want the ID, so GSIS ID. I think that's it. And we'll join by season, player name. Oh, and I want to make sure that I take this to lowercase. By season, merge name, and position. We'll see how many that brings in and how many duplicates come out of this. So I know right now that there are team not found. Team wasn't there to begin with. Okay. pause not found. You what? Okay. Unexpected symbol. There we go. So we got 1201, and so after doing this join, we have 1209. So that's not great. That implies you have some duplicates in somewhere. So what we can do now is use janitor, get dupes, the rankings, Fantasy Pros IDs. Sorry for the question, because you knew, what is the purpose of packaging building? I am... Wait, I think it's project? This is the project I'm working on. It is called ffsimulator, and basically the goal is to simulate fantasy football seasons. Which it does hopefully a good job at. Sorry, I'm also busy parsing. Basically the goal is to use preseason fantasy football rankings to generate team level simulations of how, like, basically to like run a whole season of fantasy football, calculate the points for a given week over the course of 100 potential season outcomes, and then kind of aggregate the results to tell you like how strong your team is relative to other teams, or which players are important. You can do a bunch of analysis on this, but the idea is that it runs season simulations. So right now I'm just doing some cleaning to fix some ID problems. There's a lot of entries. What is going on? Why are there so many dupes? I thought I had season on the join. So many duplicates. Distinct? No, that didn't solve it. Smell a lot of probability in there. Yeah. It's kind of a Monte Carlo-ish thing. It's not. I am. Are you a Bayesian? I am not a formally trained statistician. So I wouldn't necessarily call myself a Bayesian. More or less. Okay, so there's something wrong with this merge name or pause. It's kind of a Bayesian-ish approach, perhaps. I'm not sure that I would call it a I'm not sure that I would call it true Bayesian thinking, because I'm not really establishing a prior. I'm just kind of like, I'm not updating the prior. That's sort of how I think of a Bayesian process. It is not really a Monte Carlo simulation. I'm not really generating a distribution. I'm kind of using the actual distributions for a given rank, and then just repeating that Monte Carlo-ish ways. So it's slightly the same, and I think it's slightly similar. It should be decently similar. No. Okay, so we've got... Yeah, it's more of a bootstrap resampling, I think. That is a good... that is a lot closer to what I would be doing, and not really like a true... Monte Carlo, like Bayesian Monte Carlo simulating. It's slightly different. Mostly because I'm hoping for it to be performant, and I don't know anything about Stan aside from it taking longer to do things, which is unfortunate. Tansian Monte Carlo. Yes, because Hamiltonian Monte Carlo apparently exists, actually. What little... So, you know how, like, there's, like, that saying, like, everything I know is from Jenny Bryant? Everything Bayesian I know is from, like, Chelsea Parlett, and, it is... very funny. But I don't know a ton about it yet. So, okay. So, we got duplicate kits still. Quite a lot of them. But actually, I need to check for duplicates for the same season, in which case there's only a few. Ah, Steve Smith problems! I knew I wanted Steve Smith problems. Chris Givens has 2 GSIS IDs, and Zach Miller has... So there's 2 incarnations of Zach Miller that we don't know about. There's 2 incarnations of Steve Smith. That's hilarious. 2 incarnations of Steve Smith, 2 incarnations of Zach Miller, 2 incarnations of Chris Givens. What is my background? Yeah, you can check out my page here. But basically, I am a data developer by trade right now. I switched into data. I switched from being a property manager to data about 2.5-3 years ago, after picking up R, and basically I program shiny apps for a living and do internal tooling. I also run a fantasy football website called Dynasty Process, and help out on an R4DS Slack community, and develop R packages and CRAN packages, and do fantasy football analysis and stream on Twitch. That is not a great introduction to me, but Nick does. I'd pull out Nick Wan's like Cincinnati Reds business card, except I never got a business card. It's perks of symptoms of being remote, I guess. Yeah. Also, Blogdown website. I make all my sites in Blogdown. What am I missing here? I think I need the team itself, which is poopy. Team. Pause. Team. We're gonna cross our fingers that it's called team. And I actually don't care if it's brought in. Okay, so my rankings history doesn't have team, which is something I could use to join on, hopefully. So my idea now is, okay, so use team as one of the join keys. I may need to do some work to clean up the names so that they match for these players, but basically the idea is if I can join... my idea is, if I look at this set of mismatches... Where did that mismatches go? I thought I had mismatches here somewhere. Okay, so my idea is that if I can try to join by team... Nope, I can't join by team. That won't work. Ooh. Fantasy Pros does a weird thing where they like don't keep track of what team players were on, so they have to join on today's database. So, for example, Tom Brady was not on Tampa Bay in 2012. That is not a thing. So team won't help. Okay, well, it's actually very few, so I could just manually figure out who these are and map them. There's only 4, so I could manually recode these. Yeah, so I need to figure out who in 2012 Fantasy Pros is referring to when they say Chris Givens. Are there 2 Chris Givens? I didn't know about the second Chris Givens. Chris Givens, NFL. Talk to me, Pro Football Reference. Chris Givens, that seems normal. And there was one other Chris Givens who has the same picture, but played for New Orleans. Chris Givens, New Orleans Saints. I think this is the same player. I'm pretty sure. So he played for the Rams and the Saints. He made his career after the Saints? He had a Baltimore stint. So this is the Chris Givens. This is the Chris Givens who played 2012 to 2015. Then there's Chris Givens who went to Miami, Ohio. Chris Givens, Miami, Ohio. And I think that is different from the Wake Forest one. Yeah, I know. Okay, well, today I learned, and I think he left football because I think this might be the same dude. Yep, same dude. No longer plays football. Good to know. Alright. Okay, so in this case, I can filter out the New Orleans Chris Givens, so that's this dude. So not that guy. And then need to figure out which Steve Smith we're talking about and which Zach Miller we're talking about. And this one I think we need to go to Fantasy Pros for, because I know about which ones we're talking about. Well, I know about which players. I think they're both. No, we've got receivers. So, receivers in 2012. In this case, they're looking at Steve Smith, the one who played Carolina and in Baltimore. So that's the Carolina Steve Smith. So filter out GSIS ID. Wait, where's the other Steve Smith? Is there 2? Okay. So this is Steve Smith 1. And let me see if I can figure out which one they mean. So inspect 9579 is Baltimore Steve Smith. 9579 is Baltimore Steve Smith. Mutate GSIS ID equals case when. Fantasy Pros ID equals 99579. It is this guy. And then the other one is 9580. You're so close. And he is this GS ID. So played on St. Louis. And we need to figure out what Zach Miller we're talking about when we look at 9636. So we're looking for Zach Miller. Oh, he played tight end. So I won't find him here. I'll find him here. Zach Miller is... Wait for it. 9636. This is the Oakland. Zach Miller, Oak. Very helpful, Fantasy Pros. I appreciate y'all. Okay. The one who played in Oakland, which actually not very helpful because he was on Seattle at this time. He was a 5 years ago. How many years ago we're talking about? We're talking about Seattle. 7 years ago, they were talking about the Seattle one. Seattle Zach Miller. Seattle Zach Miller is this guy. Okay, so 9636. 9636. This guy. Seattle Zach Miller. Seattle, Oakland, Seattle? Oakland, Seattle Zach Miller. Carolina, Baltimore, Steve Smith, and other Steve Smith. That's forever his name anyway. For the people in the NFL community, not in the NFL community, everybody knows who you're talking about when you're talking about other Steve Smith. Just ask anybody, I swear. Okay. So now, this mutate doesn't belong here. This mutate belongs up there. Bing. Arjun, welcome. How are you doing? Welcome to the stream. We are currently working on the ffsimulator package that I've been working on, and cleaning up some GSID. Steve Smith goes to cricket. Yes, I mean, Steve Smith is like the most boring name possible, right? Like, it's like completely ambiguous who you could mean. So it's like, you know, whatever. Okay, so we're gonna mutate this. Generic white man name. Yes, exactly. When can I join this? So, no, wait, what? I'm Australian, yes, technically not often. Australia, it's... Cricket chat is in my chat. That is cool. Okay, so now I'm gonna have a bunch of duplicates. So I want to do a get... keep... I want to do a distinct... Fantasy Pros... ID... Keep all equals true. And now we're looking at... Wait for it. 485. No GSIS ID for Michael Vick. He might be a Mike Vick. Okay, so we've got this data frame. Kind of maps GSIS ID to Sport Radar, which is kind of a path to mapping everywhere else. So I think my goal will be to just distinct that, select. I don't need the season anymore, so I just want like Fantasy Pro, so player name, pause, Fantasy Pros ID, Sport Radar ID, GSIS ID. And what that will do is it'll give me a data frame of keys, and I can just start working on who doesn't have a key. There are probably reasons why this is. Let me think about why that might be. So we've got filter is NA, GSIS ID. Wait, I wanted is NA, not is NA. Okay. So we got a few names here. Nobody seems to know who Chris Beanie-Wells is. I'm okay with that. I don't really care. But 139 names total, not many of whom are important. There's Mike Davis as receiver, Mike Davis NFL. That's going to bring up that Mike Davis. Tell me about all the Mike Davises, please. There was a receiver. He existed, but he didn't play a snap, so I don't care. Artavis Scott never had a GS. Well, so basically, I'm going to save this as a list of names. This is Firefox. I want to save this as a list of names. And I'll open an issue where people can manually tie these names together if they care to have complete accuracy to elsewhere. So there's only 139, but I do want to fix Michael Vick, and I have a feeling Mike Vick exists as Mike Vick and not Michael Vick in this thing. Yeah, so he is a Mike Vick, not a Michael Vick. And I have a feeling like the name join mostly should work. Like Joseph Adai is probably Joe Adai. Joseph Adai? No idea. Tolbert should also exist. He might be a fullback though. Tolbert. Again, names I don't really care about, but I'm curious as to why it's broken. So we got Tolbert. Yeah, so he's listed as a fullback. Okay, so I don't need to fix that much for this purpose, but I think it's decently interesting to look at eventually. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is hard code. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna figure out what Mike Vick's GSIS ID is, and actually I think this calls for an issue because I think what I want is to convert all instances of Michael Vick to Mike Vick. And that means I can use it to fix my... I can use ffscraper and add it to my list of names that I want to fix. So the correct name I want is Mike Vick. and Michael Vick should get converted. I don't no idea what the heck's going on here, but let's say that we can fix this by converting Chris Beanie Wells to... Does Wells exist? Wells... He's a Beanie Wells. Okay. So... Beanie Wells. Love how inconsistent the NFL is sometimes. Okay. I don't think I care to fix any more of that. Yeah, it's so inconsistent as to like whether it's the nickname or the real name that ends up being the main thing. Everybody else really frickin' sucks. So yeah. So okay, yeah, I'm out. Okay, so we're gonna add these two names here. And we're gonna open FF Scraper in a new instance of R, just so that, for the sake of completeness. Okay, so add names for add more mismatched names. Mike Vick, Chris Wells to Beanie Wells. Okay, we'll add that new segment. Go over here, update the data raw. Bing. Bump this version. Description. Bump the version. And update mismatch name mismatches. And the reason why I'm updating it in the package is so that anyone who's using this package to use like a clean names can refer to this dictionary by just using dp clean names. So I'm gonna commit that, push it to GitHub, reinstall the development version as my main version, and hopefully when we go back, close that. Okay, good. When we close this, we'll restart R so that hopefully it uses the new thing, and this, crossing our fingers, should update error in view. Okay, fine. Michael Vick. Yep, perfect. So now he exists here, and what I can do is pass in a pull request to NFL Fast Start data so that I can have this Sport Radar to GSIS ID mapping down the line, but there's going to be some missing that people will need to hand join if they care to. So we're going to write CSV. And we'll dump it into data raw. Wait. We're only going to keep the ones that are filter. Is NA, GSIS ID, supplemental, GSIS IDs, .csv. And we'll do the same thing. We'll call this missing. Okay, so we got missing GSIS IDs. This now exists here. So basically, I'm now going to take the supplemental GSIS IDs and bring it into my DP player ID. So basically, I was joining DP player IDs here. So what I'm going to do is use this and supplement my current list of IDs that I have. I have a list of supplemental IDs already, so hopefully I can use this to supplement the join, maybe. Something like that. And I can open an issue with this missing GSIS ID. So let's do that. We'll start with the issue. It might be me who comes back and does this. It might not be me. You know, Arjun, if you're kind of here and want to do work on stuff, you can take this, or whoever wants to take this can do this, but I'm just going to open an issue. Supplement supplemental files for nope. Fixing missing sport radar to GSIS ID connections. 2012 to 2015-ish. Okay, and we're gonna upload packet the data that we found, which is in ffsimulator. Data raw. Add. I found some extra connections between NFL Fast R data and Sport Radar. Extra missing, just slash missing between NFL Fast R data and Sport Radar. These files should help. E.g. Peyton Manning. There's some important people. Michael Vick. Jay Cutler. Arian Foster. Blah blah blah. Jay Cutler. Arian Foster. etc. These files are this file has complete, has IDs. This file doesn't have them and may need to be manually joined. Bing. Somebody deal with that. Probably me. So basically, I can join supplemental GSIS IDs, which I already know about. Okay, so that mostly solves that problem. It's kind of important because Peyton Manning is kind of important, and having his data in the dataset is kind of important. At least a little bit. So in the meantime, actually, I should just fix that. Okay, I think that I did my part in fixing that. I'll make Seb deal with it, or I'll deal with it later. For now, patch data inconsistency for IDs 2012 to 2015. Okay. Okay, so now I want to look at joins for the remaining FF Connect classes, I think, which will let me at least run the data up to that point. It's basically just a pre-processing thing. And we're going to call this missing IDs GSIS ID patching. .r. Okay, so we're gonna save that there. Probably commit this, so... What? Oh, I clicked on the thing. Okay, whoops. Git status, git add, data dash raw, git status, git add readme.rmd. Add script for patching PSIS IDs. We'll push that. Okay, so there's still some work to do, but I want to move on to some other package related stuff, and I can figure out how I want to deal with IDs again later. IDs is kind of a never ending battle anyway, so we kind of just plug on. FF join data. I think I'm going to call it FF preprocess, so maybe? I don't know, I'm not sure yet. Okay, so we got this, we've got okay, so we got this MFL data, and ideally we can test with Sleeper and other things. Yeah, okay, so we'll try to test it with Sleeper, and we'll figure out what joins need to happen in the pre-processing. So, thank you. Sleeper ID, I'm hoping. Yeah, awesome. I'll take it. This is also your sneaky way of getting a simulation out of me, aren't you? Pre-rookie draft. It should have. Does it have rosters though? Because it needs to have a roster. If it's like pre-startup, then I can't use it. But if it has rosters, then I can use it. So, nope. Okay, so ideally everything kind of just works, but we'll figure that out. So we got con, we need end seasons, which we're gonna run as 100, best ball weeks per season, best ball is gonna be default falls, I think. Injury model is gonna be simple. Base season is going to be 2012 to 2020. Parallel false verbose equals true. Okay, so we're going to start with this scoring history. Okay, let's make sure that looks right. Nothing too egregious. We've got some set of scoring. Brady had one good week in week 7. That looks okay. There's obviously some stuff that isn't supported by the scoring history function, but it is what it is. Okay. ADP outcomes works fine. This game's missed thing is going to be a little borky. I haven't figured out how to deal with that yet. Actually, I should figure that out, so let's look at that. R ADP outcomes. Games missed is currently 16 minus games played. To be honest, I don't need it. So, it's gone. Bye! See ya! ADP outcomes. Um, Seems legit. Latest rankings we can just pull in. Rosters. Taking a minute. Okay, here we go. We got rosters, Philly Cheese, Jay Reddy. That looks right. Okay. Lineup constraints. So this league starts a minimum of 1 quarterback, a maximum of 2, a total of 10 offensive starters. So it looks something like 3 flex, 1 super flex. That sounds right, hopefully. And we're gonna jump over to the join, 2 flex, 3 receivers, 1 super flex. Wait, what? Say that again. 3 receivers, 2 flex, 1 super flex. Yes, that's right. Sorry. So there's 3 between here. 1 of them is super flex, so that's 2 flex. Tan can't count. Program counts good. Okay. So pre-processing. So we're gonna take these over. So you got rosters. We're gonna filter position to be equal to this. We're gonna left join. We're gonna select the sleeper ID and join it on the sleeper ID, and then join the Fantasy Pros ID onto that Fantasy Pros ID. Group by pause. Select, mutate. Cross our fingers. Oh. Yeah. No. No, why? Wait. What? Okay, that looks normal. Still looks normal. Oh, blast. What happened here? What? I have a feeling it's related to my expanding the data problem, but I don't know what it is. Let me think about that. So I need the ADP outcomes to have the prob the game is played. Looking at the wrong thing. I need the ADP outcome to have the probability that the game is played. And I have a feeling it needs to be wait. Thinking. ADP outcomes, so we got the same 3193, but now we've got a vector of rank, so 1, 1, and 2, 1, 2, and 3, etc. And the problem is that the probability that the game is played is happening too early. The question about .data, specifically always using .data in the tidyverse rather than just using NSE. It is specifically because packages don't like having NSE names, and so if you don't use that, you have to declare every name that you use as a global variable. So instead, the solution is usually to make this placeholder.data, and it's specifically within the development of CRAN packages. Most other packages don't give a darn. So if you're installing something from GitHub or making one just for your own personal use, don't bother with it. But it's just good habits for getting it to CRAN. Otherwise, you have to go back and prefix everything. It's the same reason why I prefix all of these things rather than importing them. It's mostly a CRAN thing. Or package development thing, depending on how you look at it. I think this is because I'm applying the injury model. Apply injury model. AD outcome model type. Left join by pause and rank. So what I could do is just move this down after my unnest rank. And then go. Must group by variables not found, so that's not found yet. Better. Okay, so I have an injury model, I've got players, and hopefully that no longer does that problem. So when I run this join, my data looks the same. I just have the roster and the weekly outcomes that they could be. In this case, Derek Carr has a 76% chance of playing any game. This could be either because of injuries or because of benching, or any other reason like that. Similarly, Bryce Love has a 46% chance of playing in a game, but he also has a relatively poor range of outcomes. Because his rank is so poor. Because he's such a poor player? I don't know. Something like that. So basically, the way the simulation works is I simulate 100. So I draw 100 times with replacement from this week outcomes, or not 100 times. It would be like 1,300 times because it's the number of weeks times the number of seasons you want to simulate. So 1,300 times from this pool of outcomes without replacement, and then based on the probability of playing a game, I do a binomial distribution between like 0 and 1. If 1, then they played the game. If 0, they didn't play the game. So it blanks out, some random probability of these games. So that's how the simulation works. You got stuff going on here. Hey, this must be you. Yeah. Okay. So that join seems to work. So the way we validate that joined data is to load document load. You're actually Philly Cheese? What? Rob's your brother. Oh. Wait a second. Do you hang out on TDM Discord? Is that where you came from? I know you've messaged me on Twitter, but I don't know if... No. Okay. Cool. No worries. Pre-processed data, so there is a method, and it works on Sleeper, which is fine. Probably found me through PA Howdy initially. Nice. Peter does a great job of promoting me, even though, like... I usually don't have an idea of what kind of question he's trying to get at most of the time. Mostly because like he works a lot on projections and I really don't. Like I don't really like think about analytics that much. In terms of like season player projections and stuff, I don't really like dive into that at all. So, okay, so projected scores, generate projections. So that generates a data frame of 389,200 variables, which is basically 1,300 for every player. And then I can parallel false, run this optimal scores. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. Should take about, I want to say, should take about 30 seconds tops. Crossing my fingers. Yep, we're done. We'll generate some schedules. And nothing else happens. Okay. So I think I left off on this in one of the recent streams. So I could get here, but for the sake of we can jump over and print out that chart for you. Let's do that. Where did I put it? Dev. So I have schedules. So matchups is, I think this should work. Yep. Season summaries. All play wins not found. Some all play wins. All play wins not found. So I have matchups here. Where's all play wins? Huh. That's weird. Oh wait, I didn't run this on Nest step probably. No, I did. I just didn't run the I just didn't run this group by N thing yet, so matchups has an N, which is the week that is being simulated, and ding, optimal score not found. That's because it's actually team score. Team score. Okay, so season summaries is here. So we ran 1,000 seasons. What? Why are there 1,000 observations? Oh, hang on, it's 10 teams? 10 teams? Is that right? There's 10 teams through a... There's 10 teams through 100 seasons. That's why there's 1,000. Okay, good. Yeah. Perfect. Okay, and we'll print you out a chart. Copy this league name in here. Bing. There. I think that makes sense. There's actually a 14 game regular season. So it should be 4. And Okay, that seems right. Wait. There. Enjoy. Okay, so that's Sleeper League. It seems that as long as I get that joined together, everything else seems to work okay, which is good. So now I want to do the same process mostly, but do it for an ESPN league. So if someone's in the chat and has a ESPN league that's already drafted, I am happy to look at that. Otherwise, I will find an example from FF Scraper, most likely. FF Scraper, we can steal it from the tests. And I would expect Tony's League to have players already. I think that should work. Okay, back to the top. We'll get the scoring history for this set league. We'll get the ADP outcomes. We'll get the rankings, which you already have. Rosters. Rosters. No SPN for you? Yeah, no worries. I used to have one. Warning, not drafted yet. No problem. Thank you for telling me. That was a bug that I fixed recently. But it looks like it hasn't drafted yet, so it's refusing to return rosters. So the solution here is to run a historical simulation based on last year's data and today's rankings, because presumably the rosters at the end of the season are still there. 224 variables. We got this nice little goat, Austin Drew Lock. You got Tony here, and that's all normal for that. Lineup constraints, slightly different again. You got DSTs and Ks. That should be okay. So let's jump over to the join data. The join data is now going to join on ESPN ID. Player ID is of type. We got some type collisions, so Y is player ID, that's DP player IDs, is of type character. X is of type integer. I generally like to coerce to character for all IDs, so we're going to go dplyr mutate roster. No, we're going to mutate data player ID equals as character data player ID. Wipe. Go. Autocopy Y is missing with no default. That's because it's ESPN ID, I think. Nope. Y is missing with no default. Why are you missing Y with no default? Okay. Unexpected equals. prefixing getting me? Age doesn't exist. That's fine. We're gonna throw a dplyr. Actually, we'll just drop the age. There. No age, no problem. And we'll throw a dplyr any of C just to make sure that that doesn't break if the API changes. And it's probably a good idea to do that here. 2, 3. And we'll do the same thing over here. 2, 3. There we go. Okay, so that should get the join through, and we just tested that it would work on the other thing. Yep, that seems to work okay. Okay, so now I want to do the same thing but for flea flicker. So flea flicker will steal one of, I think this is Joe's league. There. We'll rerun the scoring history. Scoring history. AP outcomes. Latest rankings. Rosters. Starter positions. That should still work okay. Seems to be IDP. And do mostly the same thing, I think. Except I think this one joins on Sport Radar for some reason. So we'll take this, plop that in there, and we'll look up rosters real quick. Yeah, so the best way to join Flea Flick Leagues is actually Sport Radar, which we can do. Sport Radar ID. Don't need that. And we'll join it by Sport Radar ID. Perfect. That all ran. We filtered it to just the quarterbacks, running backs, receivers, and tight ends, which thankfully just means that's going to work. Okay. So yeah, so I could have written one function and passed in, based on the connection type, what kind of join keys to use, but I think it's just easier to maintain duplicates here because they should be the same speed and didn't take very long to write them. So that's good. These projections should still work, hopefully. Doesn't look like it reused it. Oh, hang on, that's because I didn't do this. Okay, one sec. So we're gonna pre-process the data, and that gives us a new set of pre-processed data with different teams. And then we'll run number of seasons by weeks per season, generate some projections. Optimize the scores. Okay, good. We'll build some schedules. Okay, that seems to work. Okay, so right, so let's summarize. Let's run some summaries for the data. We're gonna summarize stuff on a season level. So we're gonna summarize at a few levels, right? So there's weekly summaries, which we actually already have because we ran the lineups. So then we need to summarize like head-to-head wins, all play percentage, total points for and points against. So that's going to be a season level thing. And then we'll also summarize the entire simulation. I think that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. So let's write a function to simulate that. Which I started here. So FF summarize season. You pass in the optimal scores and the schedules. It will create this all play wins thing. And it would be n-1 games. Just making sure I have that somewhere here. Logic, yeah, so it's all play wins divided by all play games and all play percentage equals percent. So all play wins divided by all play games, and we'll automatically round this to 3 places, so round 3. You can't have zeros in the all play games because they're the number of teams, so it should still work. Yeah, that should still work. So that gives you week level summaries. And then you take the scores, you group by team, you add n equals row number to give the weeks, the individual weeks. Left join score, you can coerce the franchise ID to an integer. It's not going to work for every league. Probably. I think Sleeper is the holdout there. Everybody else, I think, should have franchise IDs that are ints. Let me check. Wait. Bing. Franchise ID character, it's 1 through 10. Okay, perfect. So we're gonna coerce that to an integer, and then we'll rename the team score to the actual score. Joins, so do joins, that's fine. You need to make sure the ESPN one does the same thing, so let's test that real quick. Okay, yeah, so franchise ID also 1 to 10 there. Good. Sleeper I just tested has a roster ID. I know MFLs can be coerced to integers. Wait. Great work, music. Yeah, I just picked this up. This is I can share the list. I just picked this list up from Reddit. looking for. It's been weird trying to find stream music because apparently Twitch soundtrack isn't very good. So I found this artist who does open licensing on their songs and can pass this along here. So this is a artist called Midnight Playtime, which does like electronic synth. And it's been really good. I actually like use it outside of streams too, so kind of nice in that like keeping things going. Okay, so I've known that there have been problems with this before, where so basically ESPN sometimes does a weird thing where it skips a franchise ID number for some unknown reason. So I think in order to get around that, I'm going to need to I think I'm gonna need what I think I'm gonna need think what I think I'm gonna need is I'm gonna need to create a franchise ID. I'm going to need to roll my own franchise ID, and the way I think I'm going to do that is ranking the franchise IDs. Scores is somewhere, scores is here. And I think what I'm going to do is scores mutate team key or F key is going to be equal to rank franchise ID as integer franchise ID, and that should I should do it here. So mutate F key is going to be equal to as integer franchise ID, and we're going to pipe this to a rank call. Franchise ID not found. That's because I just ran this. So let's say I ran this whole thing. What does my scores look like now? Oh yeah, because this has weird franchise IDs too. So this has. Okay, so I think that makes sense. So what I need here is a range. This is gonna slow it down a little at least, but I think it's better. And data franchise ID. And then I can just do rank of this integer. Join a schedule ID is going to be rank of as integer dot data here as integer franchise ID. And it doesn't really matter as long as it's consistent. Which it should be. Okay, perfect. And actually I don't even need to do this arrange step because it should always have the same franchise ID, so it should have all the franchise IDs, so I think that should work okay. And then I can just do do I need that rename? I don't think I need the rename there. Maybe. Actually, I'll leave it there. Okay. So we'll do team equals schedule ID here. Do the opponent equals schedule ID there. We've got a list of matchups. That seems to work okay. Good. And that's going to serve as the week level summary. Okay, so you got season, week, team, opponent, and franchise ID, franchise name, and I have opponent. So this is kind of messy now. So I should organize these because now there's too much going on here. So this should be organized N, season, week. Team and opponent can disappear now that I have franchise ID and their opponent. Optimal score, optimal lineup, lineup efficiency, team score, all play wins, all play games, all play percentage, opponent score, opponent name, result. Yeah, so this needs a select statement, something awful. I'll go names matchups. Just throw it in here. This is gonna be N. Season week equals week. Franchise ID, franchise name, optimal score, actual score, team score, team score, optimal score, lineup efficiency, optimal lineup, opponent score, opponent name, result, optimal lineup, lineup efficiency. Let's move the optimals down a bit. Okay, got the optimal score, we got the optimal lineup. So season, week, team, opponent, and franchise ID, franchise name, optimal score, optimal lineup, lineup efficiency, all plays. Okay. All play wins. All play games. All play percentage. This is going to just be percent. And we'll rename this percent. Yeah, I think that's it. Go. All play percent doesn't exist. What now? Matchups. Okay, so when you're reading this, you go N, season, season week, franchise, franchise name, they won, team score, opponent name, and then these line efficiencies refer to the original player, which is confusing now that it's next to the opponent. And it's also optimal score should come before lineup efficiency. So let's see if we like that better. So now N, season, season week, franchise ID, franchise name, optimal score, lineup efficiency, result comes before team score, opponent score, result. So result could come after these, against the opponent name, all play wins, all play games, all play percentage, and here's your optimal lineup. I think that's better because now you can kind of clearly see, okay, so all play wins probably refers to the original team. Optimal lineup thrown in at the end also makes sense to me. Frankly, I could move franchise ID and team ID and opponent ID to the end. Result after. No, I like result before. Okay, let's try that again. So, season, week, franchise. The optimal score was this, the lineup efficiency. The result should come after. So optimal score, lineup efficiency, team score, and I think I like that because that's an indication of how I came about predicting these. So basically how the simulation works is it predicts your optimal score, it predicts a random lineup efficiency number, it predicts a team score, opponent score, wins, opponent names, all play wins, all play games, all play percentage, franchise ID, and blank. Okay. And then we're gonna deploy or mutate all. Mutate if is numeric around 3. We got quite a few things going on here, so we'll round it to 3 digits at most. Okay, looks better. These scores coming in at 3 digits is still a little annoying, actually. But I think I'm just gonna live with it. Okay, so this actually all belongs in summarize week. So let's do that. So ff summarize week. Schedules. Move all that here. And we'll return matchups. Okay. So this is gonna go here somewhere. We'll slap it with a quick export I'll probably deal with it again later. Okay, and then from there, I want to summarize what each season was. So it really should just feed in summary week. And then I take summary week. And group by season, franchise ID. Okay, good. We got a summary week now. We're gonna dplyr group by dot data season dot data franchise ID. Get rid of some of this stuff. Okay, so we're gonna dplyr mutate. No, we're gonna summarize this season, the summary week. At season level, we care about things like season. So we got season already. We got franchise ID already. Franchise name probably just could get pulled in here. Okay, so we got season, franchise ID, franchise name. Just looking at this list here, I don't care about what the week is on a season level. Optimal scores, so let's look at like optimal score as a total. So optimal score equals sum optimal score, NA removed equals true. Team score equals sum team score, NA removed equals true. Opponent score equals sum opponent score, NA removed equals true. Wins equals sum result equals W, NA remove again equals true. This is actually head-to-head wins. Head-to-head games is going to be equal to N. Yeah. All play. And I actually just want to change this to one word, all play. Replace all. All play is going to be equal to sum of all play wins. Head-to-head win percentage is going to be round head-to-head wins divided by head-to-head games to, let's say, 3 digits. And then all play, same thing, so all play win percentage is going to be all play wins divided by all play games. Okay. total points. So points. Oh wait, I normally call these points 4. So let's say points 4. These are normally points 4 and points against, right? So, points 4, points, potential points, and this would be points against. Okay, I think that's the only thing I would want on a season level. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's it. Okay, so did I remember to ungroup after this? Group by, mutate. Okay. Group by, yep, I remember most of them. Okay. Go around prefixing everything. And we'll do the same thing, but we'll make a quick summary for the simulation. And we'll just feed that summary season data in, and summary sim. So simulation, sim, simulation. It's a function of summary season. Basically, you just go, okay, ow. Okay, so, the simulation should look at... It's going to be a function of summary season, dplyr group by, data, franchise ID, data, franchise name, dplyr, summarize, h2h, games equals Actually, do seasons. So seasons equals n. And for simulations, I think it makes more sense to do means. Median. Median. I'm just gonna do a quick summary. So, wins. Average wins is going to be equal to mean head-to-head wins. Remove equals true. Average win percent is going to be equal to mean AQH win percent. This is where I start thinking about whether I should use across. I almost want to. Let me think about whether I depended on dplyr 1.0. Yes, we did. Okay. So I could do acrosses. So dplyr across C all play wins, all play games. Thanks for the follow, Invictus. Welcome to the stream. Team score. Opponent score. Optimal score. Sum dot x NA remove equals true. And that does most of what I wanted. There's probably a rename step after this though. So let's say the only things that are different would be things like points for equals team score, points against equals opponent score, potential points equals optimal score, pipe, and trash these. Slightly better. Okay, and then we'll do across C Turns out I need to write a whole bunch anyway, so maybe we'll just do it the other way. And the reason why is because I want it in this order, so if I need to write select statements, it's the same number of lines of code. So we will not use it there, but we'll use it here. okay, so I don't actually need to carry a list of number of games per season. So all play wins, all play games, points 4. Is the best way to do all play mean of the, if I sum the number of wins and sum the number of games, the games total will always be the same anyway, but that doesn't matter. Or should I just mean the win percentage? I think the win percentage might be better. Because, yeah, that should work. Points for, points against, potential points, and we're just going to do mean.x and a remove equals true. And then we'll pipe this into round by 3. Summary of the simulation: 16 teams, you got 100 seasons. The mean wins is 11.83, 9.75, 9.21, etc. Mean win percentage is 84% for Winterfell Direwolves, which I think is Joe's team, so it's possibly a good thing he's not watching. He may get too many egos there. This all play wins being backwards is bad, and have a feeling it's because I did the all play wins wrong. So all play wins is a rank of negative actual score. This should actually just be the rank of actual score, because the number of all play wins you have is 1 minus your rank. So if you were the worst team, you get 0 wins. Yeah. So, okay. So, I think if I go summary week, summary season, and look at this again, we should see that the all play percentage has corrected itself. So on average, the head-to-head does better than the all play, which does make a lot of sense. It's sort of kind of a weird number, which doesn't make sense because you wouldn't play yourself, so you'd subtract the rank by 1, subtract all play. We can check if I think I did it right here. Rank n minus 1, so perhaps I did this not correctly. This is gonna need to be dplyr n anyway. So all play percentage is all play games, all play wins minus all play rank team score, divide by team score minus 1, and then subtract. That seems right. So the summary of a given week, there's 16 teams, so that means at most you win 15 games of 15, and at worst you win 0 of 15. That seems to line up. Okay, so here we go. Summary season. Your all play wins is 121. So your all play win percentage is 94% here. That makes sense. And then the summary sim should be not doing any crazy math. So summary sim. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. And we'll arrange by all play win percentage. So I think that's the best way to rank your team after a simulation. So you got summary sim. Or summary simulation. I did throw a descent in there, so that's why it's doing that. There. Mostly better. So you can kind of see it does track decently well the all play wins to the head-to-head wins, which makes sense. I'm not sure what situations it wouldn't track like that, but it does kind of line up. And there are teams that outperform their all play win percentage, and there are teams that underperform it, which is a good thing. I think that's good that we caught that math error. Okay, so we have a set of summaries now. And so we're just going to return this list of things. So we're going to return a summary simulation. Seasons equals... Actually, we'll just name it like the way I've got it here. I think that makes sense. Summary season, summary week. I don't think matchups are necessary. I don't think lineups are necessary, because that's already going to be included. Latest rankings, ADP outcomes, metadata equals params. Params. I don't think that's necessary either. Is there anything else from this work that I would want to return? I have the optimal scores. I have the rosters. Rosters would be included. Maybe I don't want ADP outcomes. What's ADP outcomes? ADP outcomes takes the scoring history in the model. Maybe I want to take the pre-processed data. Pre-processed data might be useful. If you wanted to run your own stuff, yes. So I'll bring the pre-processed data in. I'll call that metadata maybe. Instead of ADP outcomes, we'll do pre-processed data. Latest rankings. Okay, good. It returns some tibbles. call this out. Return out. Yay. So I think that works for me. Cut these out, move them into their own thing. It's gonna be 7 summaries .r. This is 6, I think. 6. Okay, good. So this kind of follows the steps. It's ordered, which is helpful. And yeah, I think that makes sense. Okay, so that should work. There's also handle custom create handling for custom simulations. Because I made a bunch of arguments here and I haven't really handled them beyond running the base simulation. But ideally I want you to be able to use the bones of your own thing, so maybe I want to switch. No, what I'm going to do is instead of taking in anything, I'm going to make you... Instead of taking in data frames, I'm just going to use... Instead of taking in data frames, I'm just going to take in these toggles, and then I will make you... I'll make you write your own script if you want to do simulations. I mean, anyone who's writing their own custom simulations will probably understand the vignette and can copy the template and start customizing things. So I think that's okay. So I'm going to get rid of this custom rankings thing. You're probably not going to be able to pass it in separate rosters either. This really just runs the entire wrapper, but if you're going to tweak anything, you will need to write it for your own. And I can work on stuff later. Okay. Yep, I think that makes sense. Okay. Well, I'm pleased with that. We made the joins and we kind of finished writing the stuff. So, bing, bing, bing. Agree that we're getting rid of that to simplify the interface. So we'll need to write a custom usage vignette. I've been thinking about this kind of the whole stream, but I don't like the way I'm currently using dot prefixes, and I think what I'm going to do is instead of using .ff whatever, I want to rename it I'm going to rename the function with the ffs prefix and then just move with that. So anything that's meant to be export, like any of these, will kind of go .ffs, which is kind of like a for fuck's sake, which is not a great connotation, but I'm just going to roll with it. How do I get FF to the top here? And I think it's going to be to FFS, yeah. 80p outcomes. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Similarly, FF. Similarly, I'm going to do that with this. Find, we're going to call this FFS latest rankings. Replace all. FF join data is going to be called FS preprocess data. We're going to find .ff join data is going to be called ffs preprocess data. We're going to find this generate prediction thingy, and we're going to call it ffs generate predictions. Place all, yes. FF optimize lineups, we're gonna find and replace with .ff optimize. FFS optimize lineups, we'll replace all. Okay, so almost there. Gonna replace this with FFS build schedules, replace all. And we're gonna replace this with FFS summarize, replace all, yes. And I need to export a FFS summarize simulation as FFS summarize simulation, because British is gonna trip people up. So I generally prefer summarize with an S when I'm typing. Don't know why. Usually because that's what autocomplete finishes first, if I'm completely honest about whys. But Okay. Okay, so summarize simulation outputs. These functions are used to summarize the simulation outputs, i.e. optimal scores, plus schedules. Yay. Read document. Are you happy now? Mostly. Okay. Okay, it is almost 11, so that makes for almost a 3-hour stream. And I am tired. Capital T. So tomorrow, like I was saying, at the beginning of the stream, tomorrow I will be trying to go back into a research-ish stream, and I'll be actually working on fantasy football stuff mostly. Kind of just hanging around, playing, doing fun stuff, trying to set up for the Scott Fish Bowl that's coming up. So that'll be tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. Which may be after Afton's stream and still before Jesse. So ideally, like, in a normal way, I might still do research. We'll see how I feel. Maybe I'll be doing... So I'll stream for sure at my 1 o'clock usual. And I might come back and stream like my fantasy football hangout. I might do a second stream. I'll tweet about it. But expect me on tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And I will figure out what I'm going to do. Sometime tomorrow after I wake up. So if I don't do that, I might keep working on this package and then do a fun stream. I really want to get this done, so that might be where I go with this, is kind of stream again after kind of a fun Scott Fish Bowl prep stream, because I've been neglecting it. So that may be where I go next. So yeah, so that'll be tomorrow. I think. Okay, good enough. And then this reference is going to be starts with FFS. Okay, so that's gonna be it for the stream. I have more work to do. I really want to get this done. I'll figure it out from there, I guess. And we'll go from there. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I don't know how many people are still here. Over under is probably like 1, 2, 3. It's after 11. I don't know anyone on right now, so I will probably just end it like a normal-ish stream, rather than trying to raid somebody. Let's see. If there's anyone I remotely follow on right now, I will send you over there. At this moment, I do not see anybody. Yep, so I will deal with this I'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody, and we will see you then.